it's the Audio Mullet podcast, and we're so happy that you're here with us. I'm here with my buddy, Ethan Nicole. Say hi, Ethan.
Well, hello.
And I'm Doug Tenaple, and we're both just buddies. Usually we have Mike Nelson here. Well, not usually. Not the last two episodes, usually.
Yeah. We've been 2/3 of the mullet now for third episode running.
Yeah, he's making a big statement leaving us like that. He just wants all the public to know that he doesn't approve of this anymore.
He's too good for us. He's got all this other stuff like reading books that he hates. Like he has a podcast about reading books that he hates.
Yeah.
And that's more important, apparently.
He wastes his time reading hundreds of pages of garbage litter. He's devoted his life to that instead of hanging with his two buddies.
And watching hours and hours of movies that are horrible and studying them.
Yeah, and crafting insults. It's not enough just to casually give an armchair comment. He has to craft and write this stuff. And they go in multiple takes, record it, instead of just hanging with us. And it's all because of money. He's over there saying, I'm putting money before my friends because he doesn't make a dime on this.
Yeah, nobody does. Yeah, this is a pure labor of love, if it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, I just see dollar bills flying out of my house, leaving my house right now, and just floating into a fire off on the distance.
I like to consider it a charity. I knocked this off of my tithe. I think of the money I would make during this time, and then I just knocked it off my tithe.
Oh, that's a good move.
I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, God's up there shaking his head.
Like, this is my ministry. I like when people are real loose about what a ministry is. Oh, yeah. I draw Jesus on the placemat at the restaurant. That's my ministry.
Yeah, so I get to write this off. I get to write this meal off as charity.
Yeah.
We're all scumbags. Right. We're all trash. I don't believe it. Anytime someone thinks they have a pretty good opinion of themselves, that's when you should run away scared.
Right. Yeah, that does scare me. So speaking of having a great opinion of yourself, actually, that's not a good lead-in. That doesn't make any sense because we were going to read emails. Oh, it gives me a good opinion of myself when I read emails about the show. People email us.
Okay, virtue signal by reading the email. So what we have is a bunch of you guys have written into us and asked questions, like bringing up comments, conversations or topics. And we're going to pretend as if we know what we're talking about. We're going to give you our answer. These are things they wanted to know.
Yeah, some of these are big. Like a lot of people wrote in topic ideas for like a whole show. So we're just going to like kind of lightning round to go through as many as we can here and give kind of some short answers, and also just thank people. Like we like getting feedback. It makes us feel very good.
Yeah, and speaking of feedback, why don't you go and click the 80 stars review? Like put like 80. 80. Is that how they do it? They smash it's like the defend button. Everything has a different button to push. Everything has a different rating system. So I don't even know what the call to action is.
Yeah, just click them out. However many stars they offer, click the highest amount. And then write for your review, write excellent.
Yeah, if you love us, excellent means you love us. If you hate us, then clicking 5 stars and writing excellent means you hate us in your little truth. So do that.
Okay. All right, so our first email. So we're just going to go until we die here. Bryant Hains sent us this back in May. He loves the show, and he sent some topics. So we could go through some of these. I haven't even pre-read any of this stuff.
Good. This will be gross.
What do you do once you've accomplished your dream or career goal, especially if it's sooner than you thought? Now what? Have you accomplished your career goal, Doug?
I have in that I've made, like because you start with really low goals. Like I never went in going, I want to be as popular as you2 or something. I went in going, I just want to make my own video game. So I made Earthworm Jim. I just want a TV show, made a TV show. Just want to make I remember it was a big deal when Cat Scratch became a Happy Meal toy.
Because, it's big.
Yeah, being in pop media, because Earthworm Jim was on the Taco Bell Happy Meal. That wasn't enough because Taco Bell's like second tier.
It's not real, yeah.
Yeah, McDonald's is the bucket list. But right after that, those goals, and I got my Eisner Award, on a book that it really, because I was on someone else's book and they were famous and I wasn't, I won their Eisner. So now I hope I can get my goals are much harder now, like make something true, good, and beautiful, which is impossible to reach in this lifetime. So I'll forever be frustrated by that one. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my goals, if you look back to high school Ethan and what I hoped to accomplish, I really have accomplished those things.
Yeah.
I think that your goals beget new goals. So once you get a new goal and accomplish it, it really opens up. Because you start off thinking it would be really like, it'd be arrogant to think, oh, I would love to have 2 TV shows.
Yeah, right. One, yeah.
So just to have one, you're like, oh, that'd be amazing, is to pull off having one TV show. That's all I need in this life. And then you get one, and then it's over, and it's like you're not just gonna sit through the rest of your life and be like, well, all right, did my TV show. I guess I'll just. For one thing, you think that getting one TV show is going to set you financially for life, and that is far, far, far.
Because you picture your TV show being The Simpsons, and then you get this crappy little thin gruel TV show that monetarily wasn't much and artistically wasn't very satisfying. It's like,
no, I would. That. My guess it would be that they lost lots of money on that show. So it was all, if your show's generating tons of money. Because anything in Hollywood that generates a lot of money, the creators and stuff get like little bits of it, tiny sprinkles of it, right? So that's the only way you make lifelong money. That's why the people like on The Simpsons are making all this money, because they're getting their shavings of all that massive amount of money The Simpsons makes. Anyway, so yeah, you just keep on, your goals keep changing because your playing field changes, right? So,
and we got married relatively young. I was 23 when I got married and then had kids 10 years later, by 35, I think I started having my first kid. And your career goals are kind of like, when you start getting things like true love. I've been married now almost 30 years and have 4 kids. Suddenly the career goals are like more optional than the goal where I really tricked the universe and got married.
Yeah. Yeah, it does change. Like, it becomes more of I just need to kick butt at my job because I need to take care of my family and I want to impress my wife and I want I just want to do the best I can. And also your time becomes so precious. Yeah. When you have a family, when you're single, you have all this time of the day. You're like, well, I guess I'll block out 8 hours of Netflix and then it'll still give me like a good 12 hours of creative time.
Yeah.
and I'll sit there and kind of mull over and pontificate and play around. But when you're married, it's like if you get 6 hours in the day, 8 hours in the day, with especially little kids. We got little kids right now. All the hours I'm not with my wife, I'm not helping out. My wife is becoming exhausted rapidly.
You're neglecting her right. We're neglecting our families right now.
Exactly, right now.
We're being scummy guys just by answering this question. The other thing is think of this is a real downer, but I think of Stallone, Sylvester Stallone, or who played the Godfather? Who's that guy? I keep forgetting his name.
I always forget his name too.
That guy.
He was Superman's dad.
Yeah, Superman's dad, Jor-El. Jor-El played the Godfather. So think of Stallone and Jor-El. How their sons, they have sons that have died. I think they both died of overdoses of drugs. Is there a career goal that either of them could reach that would bring them peace or any kind of happiness in their life after that? I think of that all the time. I'm going if none of my kids ever killed themselves on a drug overdose, any of those guys would give up everything they've ever accomplished with their career to have what I have, which is kids who didn't kill themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was distracted because I just found it was Marlon Brando.
you were Googling.
You're getting all deep, and I'm Googling.
And the whole audience is just screaming at the top of their lungs, Marlon Brando!
Yeah, the most obvious name.
I'm only saying it's real easy to put, or when you're young, you might be looking for just the stupidest reasons for career. Like when you're young, you might want chicks. So you were the lead singer in a band. So you might be in a band, or you might want attention. Those might be young goals for wanting fame and fortune. Or you might be a lazy artist like us and go, I just really don't want to work hard for the rest of my life. So I just want to get a successful art thing. And those goals are thin to me. I mean, I still want to work as an artist forever, but You layer in more mature, wise goals the older you get. They don't tend to be those thin, merely chasing fame and money.
Right, like you die. You know that one day you're going to die, and this is the stuff that your kids and your grandkids are going to look through. This stuff that you've created, and it's going to be your legacy.
Yeah,
and it starts to become a lot more meaningful. You're like, oh, maybe I don't want to just make violent goofing off.
Yeah,
stick figures killing each other or whatever. That's what I used to make obsessively. Anyway, that's a long answer to a big question.
Yeah. Also, one day our kids will listen to Audio Mullet, and I hope if one of them ever goes becomes a awake progressive secularist, they listen to this show and hate me even
horrified
more in my death. Okay,
completely horrified. Yeah. Okay, let's see. He has like so many. I'll jump to his. He had like a bunch of art and creativity topics. He had family topics and silly topics.
Well, let's just let him run the whole show. Then we'll title it his questions if they're good.
The Bryant Hains show. All right, yeah. Or you can go skip that one.
Yeah, called Bryant Hains Asks.
Okay. Bryant Hains.
Hains Asks.
Hopefully he still listens, because this was back when we first started the show out that he sent this.
Oh, yeah. He unsubbed by now and gave us 2 stars.
Discipline versus inspiration. Do you get up and work at it every day, or do you do other things and wait for the bolt of inspiration to come? Do it every day.
Do it every day, 100%. I don't know of anyone else who's good at anything who has another method, so go ahead.
To me, it's like, the bolt of inspiration is bonus. It's bonus. Like I had that with my book, Brave Ollie Possum. I had this crazy fire into my butt that I had this idea and I had to do it. That's great when you have that, but you can't like wait for it.
And now that it's done, now that the Brave Ollie Possum is done, was the hunt greater than the feast, or is it indeed satisfying going like, done?
Well, it won't really feel like it's totally done until it's all printed out and out. It's coming out in October, so.
Okay.
But yeah, it felt really good. Yeah, it felt really good to get it done. And I had this energy to work on it. Like I rewrote it like 11 times, so I don't know.
You did a good job on it. Too.
Thank
you killed it. So I'm just saying, if it doesn't succeed, it's not your fault. You did your best.
Yeah, it's a project that I did it out of this enthusiasm I got from reading my books, reading my kids' bedtime stories. Yeah. And so to me, it really succeeded the moment that I read it to them, and they were like enraptured with it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Like they loved it. And to me, that was the main goal of it. And so my only hope is that other people discover it and that they have the same experience. And I've sent it out to like about 30 test readers, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback too, that their kids like just loved it, and some kids have read it multiple times. So
we'll push that when that comes out.
Yeah.
But here's another reason why you do things even when you don't feel like it. Because do you pay your bills when they come due, or when you feel like it?
Yeah, when you're inspired. Plumber, a garbage man.
Yeah, do you stay faithful to your life? To your wife when you feel like it, or you know what I mean? Like anything that's important in life, you need to apply some level of discipline to it. And feelings they're bonuses, and they're great, and it's important. But you gotta, let's say, act loving to your children even when you don't feel like it. And it's usually a lapse of good when you allow your emotions to take over or whatever. So I really don't want that touching my career as a professional artist. I got to apply some level of discipline. I get taking weeks off, after I pound it, for 8 months straight, and I'm dead and I don't want to draw anything. Fine. I'll take 2-3 weeks off and not, and goof around. But in general, discipline is where my stuff gets done.
That's always been for me the way you can tell if it should be your hobby, whether any creative pursuit, if it should be your job or a hobby. If you have to wait for that spark, then it should be a hobby probably.
Yeah.
If you can just do it all the time and you can crank it out, whether you're inspired or not, then you know that you have the potential at this being your job. That for me, that was what made me quit trying to pursue a career in music, because I couldn't write music unless I was really inspired. I couldn't write lyrics.
Yeah.
And it would really hold us up because we were trying to make it like a job, and I would get really hung up. Anyway, so I think that's a good thing to take if you are an aspiring comic book creator, but you can't really do it. You can't crank it out. You just only do it when you have that inspiration. Maybe it should be a hobby.
Yeah, keep it a hobby, and then it takes the pressure off, and you won't be all frustrated.
Yeah, make it an escape rather than it being this thing that strangles you with this like pressure to make it.
Yeah. Anytime I can dissuade someone from going into the arts, I will.
Okay, Bryant. So next question. How do you get past what's the point or I'm wasting my time? That feeling when you run into it while working on a project.
That's really good because
that's a good question.
We're working, you and I happen to work in pop media, and I think Mike Nelson would have a lot to say about this too. Mm-hmm. In pop media, when you're doing like video game characters and cartoons, and even we've talked about doing Happy Meal toys and stuff, it really is easy to say, what's the point? Because you're literally making landfill.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're making something like, I would hate it if anybody, just to be, okay, we'll be somewhat obscure. A TV show that is a franchise that isn't really your baby, and it's just a thing that you're doing because you're getting paid really well. Yeah.
Like VeggieTales.
I wasn't going to name any names.
Oh, I'll name names all day. And we had fun on VeggieTales too sometimes.
Yeah. But it is a job. At the end of the day, it's a grinding job.
They're paying you for a reason.
Yep. And there's a reason they pay you well.
It is not a ministry. It's not a ministry. Well, go ahead. So how do you avoid the the despair or just it's all pop meaninglessness?
This is one of those things where people have a lot of tricks because it's a constant fight in the creative, especially if you're writing books. A lot of people have like a mid-story wall they hit. If you're writing a big full story, a lot of times for me, the middle of it will be where I'll hit this sudden wall where I realize I did all this. I'll start to be able to more clearly see the end, which means I did all this stuff wrong at the beginning. And I'll almost get this hopeless feeling like I've screwed it all up and I'm going to have to start all over.
Yeah, it's too far along for you to dump and just go on to another project.
But you've lost the energy to keep pushing forward because you're in such a bad place.
Yeah.
Or you realize the ending that you had is horrible or it doesn't work at all and you don't know where it's going.
Yeah. The honeymoon's over. The honeymoon's
exactly.
over. In fact, most of these projects, this is the thing with mass media, with projects like video games, they take a long time to make. It's very hard to stretch the honeymoon all the way to the end where you just get the feels all the way through.
Yeah, totally.
So it's kind of normal to fall out of love with your own project, or as I say, long before you're done with the project, or long after you're done with the project isn't done with you. It's like then you need to practice that discipline to finish something when you're far enough along in it, and you got to maybe you do have to rewrite the whole thing, or maybe you can just do a quick fix to fix it and get to the end. And
that's one thing I'll do. There's, like I said, so there's lots of little tricks. Like one of them is that I found it really does help if you're just purely writing, is to leave off at a spot that you're excited to write the next part. So the next time you start, you're not in a bind. You're excited to jump in and go.
That's a good idea.
I cannot wait. So trying to get through those when you have the energy in the middle of your writing session, so that and then leave off where you're really excited. That's one.
That's a good idea.
Another one is to write. If you have another thought, like I wonder what if this, just write it. You can always, you can do it off to the side. You can always save this file, start a new one.
Yeah.
Never be afraid to just completely butcher and rewrite and chop up or start a whole new file. You never know what's going to take you. And the best thing to do when you're creating is to not be precious about your stuff.
It's true. That's another reason why I really love relying so much on structure, because I'm a structure hound before I ever start a project. Structure, everything's laid out, whatever. Because it means if I'm halfway through a project and I go, I want to really go off on this complete tangent right here, right now, I usually do it because I just go, hey, this is my project. I'm going to show up in this project and do my thing right here. It might be just a stupid car chase or a poop joke or a philosophical thing where a character's just sitting there thinking about complete madness. And if you have structure, you know exactly where you'll be coming back in. You go, okay, I left structure at this point to do my little personal couple of pages or my personal ideas. And now I'm just going to insert myself. I'm going to go right back onto that structure, and you just take off where you were before. So you're not harming something by going off and having fun with it. That's what I like about it. It keeps it interesting and passionate to you if you surprise yourself with a few things along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with I really liked the one thing that helped me when I was reading my book to my kids, because I actually got them to let me read it to them twice, an earlier draft and a later draft. And the thing that really prompted me to rewrite huge chunks of it was when they started to get that lull in their eyes the first time I read it to them, and they were like not into it. So that made me realize I need to go back to that spot, and I need to think of all the other options of what could happen there and start writing. And what I would do is I would write the story in this direction and see how it went, and then write it in another direction. So some of those chapters had a few different takes. There's nothing wrong with exploring like that. I mean, that's how I believe when you're writing a story, you're finding it. So
as soon as your kid started lolling off, you'd write, and then he realized there was a crossbow aimed right at his head.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
a bomb ticking.
The bomb was ticking right next to him. He didn't see the bomb, but suddenly it was there.
And then they were playing Minecraft. Yeah. They started eating candy.
The whole story just starts talking about Minecraft 10 times in the story. This is where my kids got bored, and now they're interested again.
I don't understand that. There's Minecraft like comics and stuff.
Oh, my kids read those. The books it's fan fiction.
It's like Legos.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand.
One of the top selling books on Amazon is fan fiction about Minecraft. They're like bestsellers.
Insane.
My kids are not going to like these. We got them at the library. I brought like 5 of them home, and they just like are voraciously reading them.
It's so weird.
Daddy, I don't like Shakespeare anymore. I want to read Minecraft fan fiction.
Yeah, and my daughter she found like a Minecraft song by Perry Grip on Spotify and kept listening to it. And it started suggesting other songs to her. And we've been taken down this Minecraft song rabbit hole on Spotify where there's all these Minecraft songs. It's like there's a lot of songs about Christmas, and then maybe second is Minecraft. It's just insane.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I'm old. That's when you know you're getting old. You're just like, I don't get these kids are into.
You become old. It starts going, none of this makes sense.
Yeah, they're all stupid. The world's going to hell.
Yeah. So even all the kids that are like watching, PewDiePie and Fortnite videos, when they're old, all the videos are going to come back. Everyone's going to be talking about, the big fad's going to be using an abacus and being brilliant at geometry. They're going to go like, when I was a kid, we didn't do all this geometry and abacus work. We just played Minecraft like you should.
Yeah. I know. I'm waiting for the day when it's probably pretty soon where like a hipster will kind of twirl his little mustache and use the term LOL because it's kind of old fashioned and old timey.
Yeah. And they're going to go like boomer. Or boomer won't even be a thing anymore. It'll be something else. They'll call you a Gen Xer instead of a boomer. They'll go Xer.
Yeah.
What an Xer. No,
but they seem to skip over the Xers. There's boomers, and then they love talking about
millennials.
Millennials, yep. Gen X, they just get ignored.
Let's start a thing. Let's call millennials Lennies.
Lennies.
Total Lenny.
Lenny. That sounds like an of Mice and Men reference.
Yeah, it is, because they're also, hey, Lennials.
Hey, pet the rabbits.
Yeah, do you see the rabbits, Lennials?
And they kill it.
Yeah.
That's perfect, actually. All right. Next question from Bryant. History of Christian art versus Christian art today. Are we victims of our own success after creating some of the best visual art, Michaelangelo, etc., and music, Bach, etc., in history? What happened to the greatness? Anything left to do?
Well, I mean, if it helps at all, Wagner was no Christian. He was an evil man cranking out great music. And it's not like the atheists are putting out anything near Wagner these days either. So it's not a uniquely Christian thing that we all suck.
That's true. That's true.
Ethan, what is going to stand the test of time? From the last 20 years? I mean,
yeah, that's a good question.
People are trying to like elevate Simpsons to the point of Shakespeare or something. Or Conan O'Brien or Saturday Night Live. I'm just like, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
We've got nothing to show. We've never had more time to make art, and we do. We've never had more artists just pounding stuff out. This is landfill caca.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it makes me wonder how they felt when they were making those things. Did they know they were making something that great, or was it just the culture was in such a art-wise was in just a higher place? I mean, there's lots of people doing sculpture and all that stuff, and so these guys were like the cream of the crop of a whole culture that was
thousands
trying to find beauty they were on a better quest.
But it's not like they had disposable income going like, oh, computers and robots have made it so we don't have to work as hard here in the, in the Enlightenment. We can just waste our time chiseling rock. It was actually harder for them to spend the time doing it than we do now with all of our disposable time to build Minecraft worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea.
And I think we're also kind of jaded today where even if you made something great, like if you made a great marble statue, people would kind of dismiss it as just like, once you reduce everything to just rearranging molecules, it's kind of a giant who cares. So maybe the times even of great art is like, how do you instill wonder in people who are given everything?
Like what would you say is the last great work that probably will stand the test of time?
I mean, I always think about that with film where I'm going like, what film will last? And, so I always go back to like Jaws or something like that. And you just go, that's a pretty amazing, transcendent piece. But I don't even know. I mean, it's so hard even to pick out, will Beatles last? And you kind of listen to them and you go, yeah, that's jingly. That's jingly, but there's kids today that don't really know Beatles.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? You can just make your stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have to think about it.
Certainly don't try to do it to last the ages, but I only appeal to the ages because there's a sense that true things will stand the test of time. That it's beyond just your fashion of your time and what was hot and cool of your time, but that if it tends to apply, say, to people 100 years from now, you'll go, yeah, that's like I think of a lot of Dennis Prager's writing. We call it wise because I think it'll still be wise in 100 years. A lot of what he thinks and writes, it's so tied to Judeo-Christian thought.
Yeah, so I love Chesterton because his so much of what he writes just feels like he's talking about today because there's certain truths that just wisdom. That's the definition. It's timeless. It's stuff that's true forever.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that today. G.K. Chesterton, I was in a bunch of my guy buddies from church met, and we wanted to have a little brunch together and read Everlasting Man. So we read the first chapter of Everlasting Man out loud. There's 4 of us in a coffee shop. And it's just eviscerating evolution. It's Chesterton eviscerating. And as I read it, I thought, this is actually truer now than it was then. He's indicting science for not having any actual evidence and that it's a giant cultural jam down and that people just kind of lazily accept this stuff without thinking about it too hard. And he's showing what the actual evidence reveals and stuff like that. And it's not an apologetic. He's being very conversational and goofy about it. But I go, everything he's saying about the culture of his time is truer about our culture of our time. It's weird that he zeroed right in on this huge thing that was, frankly, on the early end of fashion. He was writing about it only like 50 years after Origin of Species was published.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty wild. I mean, the way he could kind of foresee things like way out.
Yeah. So maybe that would be my vote for anything in our time or close to our time that will stand the test of time. Definitely Chesterton, though he may remain out of fashion, he will definitely be truer, very true, and it will be wise and true 1,000 years from now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to pursue. Like, don't chase fads. If you're trying to make money right now and just be, if that's what you want to do, I guess that's fine. If you're seeking that, if you want to make stuff that's timeless, then make stuff that's timeless. It doesn't mean it's gonna be. It doesn't mean it'll be in a museum someday. But that was one thing I purposely did, going back to because it's my most recent project, I guess, my possum story. I didn't put any technology in there. That I just kept it very simple, very fairy tale-ish. So it doesn't. Yeah. So it could be timeless. That'd be my goal.
He doesn't pull out his MySpace account.
Exactly. Yeah.
And start jamming on it.
There's no internet. There's no cell phones. Not saying you can't have cell phones, but
the other thing with we're working in pop media, and there really is a pressure for it's not mass media if it's not popular, at least to some mass somewhere.
Yeah.
So you have to appeal to a crowd just to pay bills.
Yeah.
So in our case, when you get married and start having kids, there is a joy to making profit. Like if you're
Totally.
stuck working on VeggieTales, there's a great good that came from VeggieTales, which is it
Totally.
stabilized my family,
Mm-hmm.
gave me a lot of experience working with the crew, all kinds of things that just weren't even about the show.
Right.
And we're very proud of the show, but I'm just saying it was, there's another thing comes about when you have a family and suddenly you're working and you might as well be laying brick because it's just about the income. But it is doing a good in of itself when you can pay bills with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I'm getting at is if you have your passion project, you can have, you obviously can't apply it to every single project. If you're trying to make a living, you're very lucky if you're able to just apply whatever rules you want to any creative endeavor you do and make a living at it. But so, yeah, I don't think any of us thought VeggieTales was going to be our Michaelangelo.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will be remembered.
And if I really wanted to blow people's mind, the last people I would go to is like Hollywood or video games to say, pay for my brilliant idea. I'd almost certainly have to go off on my own, like to write my testimony in graphic novel form, right? Am I going to try and trick people into paying for that? Or will it not be more soaring if there's no finances involved with it at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So that's what I'm saying. Your passion project, the one you're probably doing for free. Yeah. Think about it. How will people 200 years from now read it? Okay. Your opinions on the church being a patron of the arts in history versus now. Not exactly sure. Because I guess they used to fund art, right?
Yeah, that's an argument that I see a lot of, is that the church should be paying for arts just like they did when arts were great, because it actually frees up the artist from the market, right? So you're not
kind of
you're not having to make things for people who will pay for it. So you're in the safety of the church, you can better go after high-minded ideals, let's say, holiness or something that may not make money. I don't care really, because I think whether an artist shouldn't be stopped just because a church doesn't pay for it.
Yeah. And I found, it's rare that throwing money at an artist to make stuff really works. You think? Like, unless they're the type of guy that already cranks stuff out.
Yeah.
And you just give them some stuff to relieve the pressure of bills. If they're the kind of person who's going to get it done anyway. But if there's somebody who's like, oh, I've never really finished a graphic novel or written a book, but I have all these ideas, and you give them a bunch of money, they're going to play more video games probably. They're probably not going to finish those projects.
That's largely true. If you know many artists, it's largely true. I do think sometimes it feels like an excuse to me. Like artists are saying, I need the church to fund my thing before I can move. And the reason why I can't move is because I have to go and work. We got to move these microwave ovens, all that. Like I have to do a normal job. So it becomes like an excuse, and that's not true. But at the same time, I'm getting Earthworm Jim backed right now on Indiegogo, $750,000. And that's a level of patronage. People giving me, now I'm going to give them a product or whatever, but they're giving me money for that product. And now crowdfunding has dwarfed the amount of money that like National Endowment of the Arts pays for things. Crowdfunding has funded more art than the government. And that's all voluntary by people paying for things. So I guess I don't think the church has an obligation to fund arts. I don't see that in the Bible anywhere. Is that in the Bible? Fund the arts.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's get down on.
It seems like it would create and the artist would probably have to fulfill some. I mean, he or she couldn't just make anything.
Yeah,
they wanted. You'd think they couldn't be like, oh yeah, cool, I'm going to do my serial killer story.
Yeah,
with the church's money.
I'm going to write Dexter.
Yeah, I did Dexter.
I mean, they will. The church does pay for like stained glass, and I guess if they'll pay for an organ and some furniture, I don't know. But is there some obligation? I don't get it.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think the church is a different thing than it was back then.
But Ethan, it does remind me of every like artists in ministry, Christians in the arts. When the church starts that group,
Yeah.
in LA, in Tennessee, in Nashville, it's always going to be near a city. They're going to do like, we're Christians in the arts.
Yeah.
We don't just want to make God is not dead too. We're going to make something beautiful. We're going to make this installation out of recycled plastic forks in the shape of a, I don't know. It's a way to make terrible art, and it sounds like a bunch of whiny excuse givers. Instead, just go make your art.
Yeah.
Just go make art. It's not that hard.
All right, we're moving on to family topics. Where are we on time here? Oh, wow, we're almost 40 minutes in. We're
getting there.
Should we keep going?
Yeah, go.
All right. There's that voice crack. Keeping the fire alive with the wife, even after many years and or kids.
Oh, yeah.
How do you keep that fire alive, Doug?
I'm 30 years in.
Wow.
So I'm not only an authority on keeping the fire alive, I'm an authority on letting the fire go out, so to speak. I do think there's a time when at some point your spouse kind of starts to become your roommate. Like that's my judgment of it, is when I go, when everything in my marriage starts to look a lot like anything I could do with a guy. There's one thing I can think of that changes that. But I think you just gotta, don't take the person for granted. Mm-hmm. People talk a lot about courting them or being special. Treating them special is also, it's a kind of a discipline to show that kind of respect and great love. And it's not that, frankly, it's not that hard. I have a very lovable spouse, so it's usually I forget about it for a few days, and then I think about it, and I just go back, and my heart soars for her again, and I just think you're wonderful to me, and so it definitely matures and changes, though.
Yeah, I feel like I'm I'm 7 years in, so they always say that's like you ever heard of the 7-year itch?
Yeah. And that happened to me in my marriage. 7-year itch was.
I've heard there's like a real, and the 7's a number, like for marriages. I don't know why.
It's because that's the time that like any kind of newness,
it's just gone. Yeah,
is just gone.
And the worst, you've pretty much probably seen the worst, or at least the worst they can be. You've seen the bad sides by then, probably.
Yeah, and the answer. Culture's answer is dumb. It's not to find a new position and start wrapping each other up in plastic or something weird.
What? Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, or have an affair. That's looking for something external. When in true Chesterton fashion, he always talks about avoiding or not being so in love with being a world traveler because you have a world in your own garden. I think that applies to your spouse. Is instead of looking, it's an easy answer just to look for, say, another person, or I demand you to act or be like someone who I could love. Instead, just realize you probably haven't found, another layer of complexity or wonder about the person that you have in your life. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to discover in each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just really being vigilant to not take things personally a lot, to kind of just realize that like there's, like we have 4 kids, and a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old are real handfuls. And then our 12-year-old is just hitting that teenage phase where she's very dramatic, and there's just a lot coming at both of us. And we both, and we've had like financial issues and just a lot of crazy stuff coming at us, health insurance stuff, and she's type 1 diabetic. There's just all this stuff kind of coming at us. And so I think it's kind of still supporting each other when you're going through those things and realizing like you're not always going to be able to be going on like constant dates and goofing off and laughing at TV shows together and stuff. Like sometimes it's just days are going to be just work. It's a day of work.
Yeah, and Chesterton likens marriage to war. He calls it war. And it's like when you're describing, dealing with diabetes and medical bills and things like that, the real question is, who did you marry? And you're going into war with them on your side. And so there's a battle, and you're so lucky to have this partner to fight alongside of in the troubles of life. That's how I see it. My spouse is just, I wouldn't want to be with anybody else dealing with this stuff.
Yeah. Totally. Work and life balance. Does it exist in tactics to maintain it? Work and life balance. I guess how much time you spend working and how much time you spend doing life with your family, I guess.
Is there life outside of work? I don't understand the question. I'm a workaholic. So, for me, that balance is always threatened, I think. I just don't buy the idea that, the idea of all these active dads and stuff. Like, I don't go to all my kids' sports events. I remember Patricia Heaton once saying that she never recalled once that her parents got down on the floor and played with her and her toys. Like that's what all the parents are supposed to do now, is get down and get into the Legos with the kids. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that. I'm only saying I don't see the parental obligation to do that. Even going back to the Bible and things, that the idea that I have to go to all of my kids' games to show them support or get down into their level and their mind and engage all their friends and stuff. I'm just like, nah, my dad never once got down on the floor and played Star Wars figures with me. And frankly, I'm relieved. I don't sit here and go, my dad, he'd never get on the ground and play dinosaurs with me. That is not the definition of a good dad to me. He went out and he worked. He swung a hammer, sweating at just a totally thankless job. In fact, he never got thanked by me. He does now. Mm-hmm. Back then, never got thanked by me, basically to an ungrateful family. Went out and did his job faithfully till he retired. There's no greater dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like my balance is pretty much created by my family. I mean, there's just I squeeze the work in as much as I can, but I don't really have. It's not an option for me to like overwork at the moment, anyway.
Yeah. And it does bring purpose to work. So instead of looking for kind of highfalutin ideas of self-expression, when you're working, at least in our forms of media and making money at it, when you bring home payroll or whatever, working really hard and being able to pay some bills is a very satisfying thing.
Yeah, totally. Opinions and tactics for how to prevent work burnout and when to go on vacation.
I'm in month 4 of the Earthworm Jim comic production, and I'm doing 12 to 14-hour days, 6 days a week, and I'm probably going to work Sunday this week too. So I am having a big problem with this, but I am going on vacation. Thursday, I'm going out to Austin with a bunch of my friends, and I will be bringing work with me and penciling pages while we're having cigars and whiskey. So I believe in working hard and pounding it on a project. When the project's done, just having a total squanderous, selfish time, be it 3 weeks or 3 months. I don't care how long it lasts, usually till I'm bored. I will become the laziest man on earth when the project's done.
Yeah, I don't really have a system worked out for it. I probably should come up with something.
But in general,
more for me, it's like where I get to the end of the day and it's like, all right, I got to do something. I got to be stupid for an hour or two here before I go to bed. I got to watch some stupid videos or listen to some podcasts, have a cigar,
some fail
turn
videos.
my brain off. Yeah,
fail videos,
or watch someone get owned by Ben Shapiro or something.
Owned by Ben Shapiro. Yeah.
Let's click on dumb videos. Let's see this one.
Yeah.
They're always just disappointing too. It's like, oh, that wasn't as good as it said it was going to be.
Yeah, he pulls out like a tax return. Look at this. It's like he has some big spreadsheet or some factoid he pulls out. No, in fact, black unemployment is low as it's been. Oh, Ben Shapiro owns the libs.
I want to see one where he says something and the person's head literally explodes.
We could probably do that in Photoshop or something.
That'd be a good idea, yeah. Man's brain literally explodes.
Literally explodes. And literally make it explode.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Wife/husband roles and responsibilities in each of your families. suggestions for others. Do you want to get into that? Roles and
Roles?
responsibilities.
It's weird.
We just do whatever we can, whatever needs to be done. Whoever can do it, we just do it.
Yeah.
That's basically
Are they asking like who's on the bottom?
Yeah. Like who does dishes?
Yeah. Why do they? I think it's funny that we have to describe
Whose place
this
is
now.
the kitchen?
What are their roles? Let's see. My role is to be passive and wear a dress to church. And her role is to be, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just a partnership, and whatever needs to be done, and whoever has the bandwidth to do it. I mean,
yeah. But he's kind of asking almost like, when you cast your play, who gets this role?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we're very much a stereotype here. When you pull out the character, we typecast.
Men drive.
That's right.
Sometimes I don't drive.
I love having Angie drive because then I can sit there and daydream all the time and do nothing.
Well, if I drive, Jess pays such close attention to everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like
you can't have a pleasant drive.
I can't. I mean, it's very tense. So if I'll just let her drive, and she, I don't pay attention.
Yeah. The only command I get from everyone in the car is slow down.
Oh, your wife's a maniac, though. I rode with her one time.
Yeah.
She drove us to the movie theater to get to a movie one time, and she like passed somebody on a neighborhood, like those roads in Glendale, those tight roads that are already tight for your one car to get through. Someone who's driving apparently too slow for her. She went flying down the oncoming lane. Yeah, it was crazy.
So I'm just saying, imagine
we were all holding on, me and Eric Branscombe and these guys.
Imagine her calling me a maniac. and you get an idea of how because I'd have been up on the side. I'd be up on the sidewalk.
Yeah, you're a little scary too.
Yeah.
All right. Balancing guy time versus family time.
Guy time is
I need more guy time. I don't get enough guy time.
But that just means because you have so much priority with family time.
Yeah.
Because that does come before guy time, but it just doesn't mean you can't neglect guy time.
The main thing I would say is have guys. There's guys I know who let that go. They lose it.
Yeah.
And it's just, even if it's, even if you haven't seen him for 6 months or something, just that you have them there and you can. Like, you just need to, don't lose, don't get married and just lose complete connection to a group of guys. Got to have them.
Yeah, good guys. But again, it like all things in life, and I guess if I don't tend to my guy time, maybe we have to force it. We have to create a guy time. Like, guys,
yeah.
We're going out on a date.
Mandate. We're mandating a mandate.
It always involves smoking and drinking,
mm-hmm.
and I hang out with guys who don't get out of hand with that stuff. So they're pleasant guys to smoke and drink with, and they're not foul or anything. They're just good guys just to be with. So
yeah.
Next
on that one, you all and I love tobacco and alcohol in moderation, but where's the line? The difference between those things and other drugs.
Oh, I like it out of moderation too. So do you have a drink limit, Ethan? When was the last time you were wasted?
It takes a lot for me to get really wasted, so it's...
Yeah, you're heavy.
Yeah, I'm heavy.
When was the last time you were wasted? How many drinks did it take?
I don't know. I mean, probably the worst I get is I'll get kind of tired and dizzy, and I'll just fall asleep. So I don't like.
You don't vomit. You haven't ever vomited by.
I've only vomited one time. Was at Comic-Con, and and I was really thirsty and tired, and I was overstimulated. My brain. I just wanted to shut my brain down. And everybody, they went to this liquor store, and everybody like in our group was like Eric Peterson and my brother and a bunch of people. They bought like a bunch of different kinds of alcohol. There's like,
oh no,
all these different kinds of like hard alcohol and stuff. So, and they bought like red Solo cups. So I just poured like each kind in until the cup was full, basically.
Oh no!
And I just started drinking it really fast, and then I put more in. I drank like a cup and a half of just straight, no ice. And I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden, like, it felt like we're all sitting in kind of a circle in these Starbucks chairs, and it felt like the chairs were just spinning around me.
You probably almost died of alcohol poisoning on the spot.
And so I remember somebody looked at me. I can't hardly remember it. and said, "Are you okay, Ethan?" And I said, "Yeah, he's just kind of spinning." And I kind of chuckled, and then I like looked at the ground, and then all of a sudden I just fire hosed out vomit like a mad, just filled, and everybody got up and they're like, "Let's get out of here." It's like nighttime at a closed Starbucks and just covered the ground. But so that's like the worst.
I'm just saying, what's so bad about that?
Actually, I mean, I do think that some people like to take the rule that you never get drunk. I don't know if I quite buy that. I think it's I don't see what's wrong with getting a little tipsy with good friends. I think it's when kind of more the line Chesterton draws, that when alcohol's become a medicine for you to deal with life's problems and you're using it to cope.
Yeah, that's my beef with alcohol is I don't want to ever drink it to numb pain.
Right. Be jolly, not drink jollily. Jollily.
Do that in the room.
Oh man, just kicking her out. Just kicking out the daughter. Know your role. He's got his mic muted.
I know. She's about to operate a paper cutter while we're recording, so it's going to be like shunk.
Shunk.
I'm just saying cut it in the other room. She's going to demand that she cut it on the air.
All right, we're going to hear live executions on the air.
Isn't that a Fortnite guy?
No.
He looks like a Fortnite guy. Who is that guy? She's got a picture of a guy that she's cutting. Who is that?
It's Shawn Mendes.
Who's he?
For my friend. Her birthday card.
Okay. Go cut that in the other room.
Okay. King of the Universe.
She called me King of the Universe and stormed out.
Your house is like so huge. There's got to be so many
Now
rooms.
she's yelling at me from the other room.
Getting attitude, these kids.
Yeah, you got one 12-year-old?
Right now, but they're all going to turn that age.
I've got 4 12 and over, so I've got a 12. Yeah.
We'll get there.
You'll get there. Basically, they all turn into your oldest daughter.
But right now, they're like Calvin. He really likes to be naked, so he constantly rips all his clothes off, and then he craps everywhere and covers himself in it. So,
good man.
At least your 12-year-olds don't do that.
See, you vomited on a public street. Better or worse? I'm saying it's far less biblical what Calvin's doing right now than what you did. So I really do enjoy drinking with friends. I do. I have a harder time defending probably whiskey, although that's the thing I drink the most of. And I have an easier time defending wine because Jesus made it, turned water into wine. So I don't see the big problem with that. And I think the Bible, when it is talking about, don't be drunk with wine, but be drunk with the Spirit. I think it's very much hypothetical language of, you think you're drunk with wine. It's almost like get drunk with the Spirit. You know what I mean? Like instead of dealing with like physical properties, think of the supernatural world of being drunk on the Spirit. And then and smoking, I resent being addicted to tobacco, but I'm here chewing Copenhagen right now. I've got a pouch in, one in the chamber. And when I get together with my guy friends, though, I always buy a pack of American Spirits. And I'm smoking like a chimney till I'm sick.
Huh.
So it really is like a celebration of kind of letting it all out in front of your friends. I don't want to get drunk. I just don't like the feeling of being drunk either. And, the idea of driving that way or trying to, I want to talk to guys and maintain a conversation and not see who can slur their speech the most and act like an idiot. So it really isn't bad.
It's never appealed to me. So I guess for some people, like the party hasn't started till everybody's drunk, and I've just never got that.
I don't get that either.
Been something that appealed to me.
I do the same thing with carbs. I'm all low carb, but when I'm with my friends and if they pull out a big old pie and a piece of cake and ho-hos or something, I'll eat with them because it's like Jesus said, when the bridegroom's with you, it's not time to mourn and diet. It's time to so it's part of the celebration.
Said diet.
Well,
it's not time to count calories.
Yeah, it's not time to count calories. It's like the time to
get out the good stuff.
There is a time to celebrate when your friends are near, and I really defend that jolliness more than. There's nothing worse than a friend who just goes like, "Hey, we're getting together, and there will be no alcohol."
Mm-hmm.
I just go, what the hell?
Yeah.
But I have one of those friends. But I'm like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the hell?
He has drink Capri Suns or something.
Yeah, hooray, thanks. And there will be no tobacco. You will bring only what? There will only be chewing gum. Okay, thanks. Let's get together and celebrate.
All right, we're gonna end with his silly topics. I might not get some of these. What are our Kevin Bacon scores? Do you know what that means?
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, like
how far removed?
We both know a lot of Hollywood people, so it's probably like 1 or something, 1 or 2.
Yeah, and I hate the question anyways. Yeah. That's
stupid Kevin Bacon.
It's not. I'm going to apply non-Euclidean geometry to this question and answer with wrong question. All silly topics I hate. So,
what are dumb hobbies you have?
Didn't we do this last time about?
Yeah, we kind of talked about that. Yeah, Tetris and collecting things. Yeah, we could skip that.
All of them are dumb.
Do you have any home do-it-yourself failures or successes worth mentioning?
I mean, anytime I try cutting wood or swinging a hammer is going to be a failure.
Yeah,
it really is a redneck job I've poured cement and it looks like I poured it, but I'm proud I did it.
Yeah.
So it's like there's fingerprints of cement all around it and it's all cracked. And I go, see, I did that.
I'm trying to think of failures because I know I have screwed things up, but I think I worked past it enough that I was proud in the end.
Like patching drywall, you got any?
Yeah, I've patched drywall. I did once have the garage door fall on my head, but it had like went off its track and I was trying to hold it up and then it suddenly snapped loose and swung down, and those things are heavy. In fact, I'm looking back and I'm wondering if that had anything to do with how I messed up my neck.
Oh.
So it was around that time. I was like didn't realize it until later. But yeah,
I was going to laugh until it actually injured you.
It hit me hard.
Because that would be really funny to watch if it didn't hurt you.
But I built, there's a good thing about DIY. One thing I realized, like I put in a retaining wall for my wife to have a garden in her backyard, and I did a wooden garden. You know, I built 2 gardens, and I wanted to learn how to make both. So I did one out of brick and one out of wood. And
you're 2/3 through the 3 pigs.
Yeah, and I accomplished it. Yeah, I didn't use straw, but
I did one out of straw.
But they're both walls that you would see everywhere and think nothing of them. But me, when I walk by them, I have this pride in them because I made them. Yeah. And so there's something about it. You laid the bricks, you did the work, and now we're eating all this vegetables out of that garden, and it's cool.
Yeah,
do it.
I like hiring people to do that stuff, anyway. Yeah. I do some do-it-yourself stuff, but I really am not that good at it. I'll try.
I made my medicine cabinet too. I wanted a medicine cabinet that looked kind of more manly, and I couldn't find anything that I liked that wasn't too expensive. So I decided to just make my own. And so, yeah, whenever I use my medicine cabinet, I'm all proud of myself.
Yeah, you're doing lots of real high-end, good professional woodwork too. You're doing good. I mean, like your edges butt up correctly. Mine are always like hanging way out there with gaps showing.
Because when I first moved, I got a garage, and it was my first time having a garage in a space where I actually do that stuff. And so for a while there, I was doing it a lot, but I haven't had time to hardly touch it for a long time now. But every once in a while, I'll build some shelves for the kids or something or whatever. All right. Like it was kind of good for me to prove to myself that I could do that stuff, because I kind of grew up thinking that I couldn't, because my dad could, but he never involved me in it, and I had this weird complex that, I'm not one of those guys. I can't do that stuff.
If you could make a living wage at doing furniture, would you walk away from comics and animation and writing?
I'm not that good. I mean, I guess if they're going to train me, I don't know if I don't think I'd walk away. I mean,
if you're that good to independently do it,
probably. I mean, if the pay is high enough, I'll do it, just about anything. So.
Right. That's what I'm just saying. So,
I would enjoy it probably for a time. I'd still want to create stuff on the side, but I would love to have. It's more that I would love more hours in the day to actually be able to spend doing it. It's probably what I'll do in retirement or something if I'm still alive. Tricks to get your kids to eat. Just don't worry about it. If they're hungry, they'll eat.
Yeah, they're not going to starve.
Yeah. That's one thing that me and my wife disagree on a lot. She's always trying to force them to eat stuff. I'm just like, just say they can't have candy. until they eat something healthy or whatever later. They can wait, or they just skip. I mean, you don't even need to eat for a day. You'll be fine. You could not eat for like 30 days and you'll be pretty much fine.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you don't eat today.
Yeah, don't eat. We'll make
your body's got stores. Your body stores up energy for these situations where you don't want to eat. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if you're hungry, you'll eat, and your tastes will expand the hungrier you get.
Till finally you're eating a roll of duct tape.
Yeah. Getting kids to sleep tricks. Getting them to stay in bed, probably.
Oh, this kind of plays into the last question. Give them whiskey. No, I'm kidding. Get them drunk on whiskey. Get one of those red party cup tumblers. And,
I've been pretty lucky.
My kids always slept fine, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of battles about sleep so far with the kids. But I hated sleeping, so I'm waiting for it to happen. I still hate it. Like, you hit the snooze alarm in the morning and you keep hitting it. I'm like that at night. Like, my body goes, all right, we should probably go to sleep. I'm like, 15-minute snooze. I hit the snooze on going to sleep. I just keep hitting the snooze until it's like 2 a.m.
Yeah, I go to sleep, probably 10:30, 11, and I'll like wake up at 3:30, bing, and I can't get back to sleep. And then so sometimes I'll just get up if I lay in bed for like an hour at 4:30, I'll just get up and start working.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I started getting up early. And speaking of working, I got to get back to work. Let's wrap it.
Yeah, so do I. This is our last question.
Okay.
Embarrassing work or something that you hope doesn't crop up on YouTube or the internet. What?
Well, there's a lot of embarrassing things I don't want cropping up on YouTube and the internet. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Care.
It's all out there. We've been, most of the stuff we've made has been in you have some years on me, but almost everything I made is pretty much on the internet. So there's nothing I can't even think that way.
Yeah. Like we've shown our terrible high school art publicly, and it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bryant Hains, this was your episode. I hope that other people enjoyed it too, but they're good questions.
Though those are great. Those are way better than the ones that we usually come up with.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That was cool. And you can imagine Mike's answers. They were very funny and charming.
Well written, pithy, thought out.
Yeah, pithy, thought out, snappy. Yeah, he's always impressive.
Yeah, it's just pretend like he was here and just acknowledge that, yeah, he'd have done a good job if he was here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for showing up for the Audio Mullet podcast. Click like, share this with your friends, and you be careful out there. That's a terrible tagline.
You be careful out there now.
Okay, so y'all be careful.
Drive safe now.
Look both ways before you cross the street, y'all. On behalf of Ethan Nicole.
Yes, and Doug TeNapel.
And Mike Nelson, who isn't even here to say goodbye or even hi. This has been Audio Mullet.
Goodbye.
Audio Mullet, a mullet of audio smashing you